everybody. This is the second video of a 2-video series of Windows 10 technical preview builds. We're going to be looking at build 9926 and some changes that they made to this build versus build 9879. My first video was kind of a brief overview of 9879. I covered some things, but I didn't do a very deep coverage of the build. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reflect back on that build for a few things, so that way you can clearly see the difference that they made in some parts of the build. So anyways, here's the desktop in build 9926. You can see they provide a very nice wallpaper there. Now I'm not sure if build 9926 is the latest one. Obviously there's newer builds. I've noticed some further changes that they made in later builds, such as adding transparency to the taskbar and to the start menu and things like that. They have definitely made some changes to the user interface. They made changes to the start menu. They made changes to the Explorer. They've updated some more of the icons, those kinds of things. The taskbar has definitely seen a big change. If you look here, extra icons now pop up here and you don't have the customize option below them. Also, running items have a small bar under them, rather than looking like let's say this here. Also, they put these they removed the start search and put search down here on the taskbar. And I have mixed opinions about this. I'll try to cover that in just a moment. And of course, there's task view to where you can have multiple desktops, which is pretty cool. And of course, there's Internet Explorer, which for those who don't know, they're going to be providing a new browser codenamed Spartan in Windows 10. And it's supposedly more like Chrome and things like that. And I've heard some decent things about it as well. And of course, this video is not going to be a nitpicky, thing about all the features that are coming to Windows 10, because I don't know exactly all of them off the top of my head. But there are definitely some nice features coming to Windows 10. So anyways, let's go and get started. As I mentioned, the taskbar has seen some changes. Now let's go and take a look at the File Explorer. All the windows in Windows 10, released in build 9926, there's definitely been some changes. As you can see, the minimize, maximize, and close buttons have changed. They don't look the same as they used to. Also, the desktop icon has been changed again. They have updated the downloads, documents, pictures, music, and videos icons to have more of that flat appearance rather than just the Windows 7 style icons. I think this PC has been updated as well. Yes, it has. Let's take a look. So there's those icons. Let's look at the other ones. Network has been updated as well. I think almost all of the icons have seen some sort of a refresh, even if they were changed in this build here from the ones that were in Windows 8. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and open the start menu on this build. Take a look at that start menu if you didn't watch my previous video. As you can see, it's split down the middle and looks a lot like Windows 7 in regards to this here. Anyways, go back. As you can see, there's start search. Okay, now let's look at the start menu in build 9926. Now you guys may be wondering, I'm running this on a laptop, but I was running the other one in a virtual machine. Well, that's because this build here does not run very good in VirtualBox. It ran like garbage, actually. Run very slow, and I wasn't going to do a video like that. So anyways, look what they've done here with the start menu. Now if you watched my previous video, I did both the start menu and the start screen in build 9879. And the full screen was practically the Windows 8.1 start screen. And here they have made some changes, obviously. One of the things I complained about in the previous build was the fact that it wasn't keeping track of your most used apps or programs. They fixed that. Now it does. But anyways, One thing I don't like about what they've done here is, in the previous build, when you actually hovered over, like, let's say File Explorer, you see how you got extra options for, like, desktop, downloads, pictures, documents, music, pictures, things like that. It doesn't appear to do so in this build. But anyways, they did have, they have places, most used, and recently added. Let's look at all apps. Come on. There we go. And they have them sorted alphabetically, which is, I think it's not a bad idea. And one thing I'm glad of is they kept the folders closed. They didn't have them all open like this. That was probably one of the biggest gripes I had about the start screen in Windows 8 and 8.1. It just made everything such a big mess. Like, for example, I think I have installed on this machine. Yeah, Kaylight Codec Pack. Let's see. Look at all the stuff that it has in its in its menu. A lot of things. Now, if you go back to my Windows 8 videos where I did practically I installed a bunch of software, you could see just how big of a mess it would make in the start screen. Anyways, yeah, everything is sorted alphabetically. And now, instead of having to go into your properties to change the behavior of start, notice how in here the checkbox to use the start screen instead of start menu, or use the start menu instead of start screen, is no longer there. They have made some changes. Notice over here you can maximize start, and we have the new start screen, which for a laptop or a desktop with a keyboard and mouse, I think this is pretty nice. But I'm already seeing some issues here for touch users who use tablets and things like that, or two-in-ones. When you're on a laptop that's a two-in-one or a tablet with a huge screen, sorting through this is kind of complicated. Now let's go back to build 9879 and let's change it to be the start screen. See, you actually had to sign out and do things like that. And of course there's a common Windows 10 bug in this build. Anyways, there it is. You notice how it turns purple? I think that's like the default color for the start screen. But yeah, there's a start screen that you may recognize in Windows 8.1. Now, for somebody who's using touch, swiping with their hands, this interface I think is better for that. And you have the bigger tiles, but at the same time, well, if you notice how these icons here are bigger, but as you can see, if I can find some folders here, notice how everything is expanded. This is a big mess. But yeah, that's the actual start screen and build. Let's see if we get out of this. See, you can easily get lost in this build. Oh, there's a taskbar. If I go back here, you may notice that the taskbar stays there. It never goes away. That's a good thing, because in Windows 8.1, in Windows 8, when that taskbar disappeared, it made the OS feel like there was two separate builds. There's two separate operating systems on your computer. You had what I referred to as the key interface, like a tablet interface, and you had your desktop, which was like Windows 7 without a start menu. I like the fact that they have integrated these better and made this a lot more user friendly. Let's say if I want to go back to regular size start menu, I just click here, restore start menu. There we go. It's not taking up my whole screen. A lot of people complain about it taking up the whole screen, and those complaints have been addressed here. Another thing they have changed is some of the apps. One of them is PC settings. It's no longer PC settings. This is called settings. Now let's take a look at the control panel. Which, yeah, I'll come back to what I was going to tell you in just a moment. Let's look at control panel. I don't want to sidetrack you guys too much. Let's see, Windows System. There we go. Control panel. The control panel has lost a few things. Notice something missing down here at the bottom. Notice Windows Update is no longer there. It is now completely in settings. And if I understand right, they're going to be depreciating this control panel a bit more, probably before Windows 10 is completely finished. Anyways, that's the control panel. It's practically the same as Windows 8 or Windows 7. Now let's go and look at settings. You know, one of my big gripes of Windows 8 and 8.1 was PC settings, or now settings. It was so cumbersome and confusing, and it lacked a lot of things that were still in the control panel. This is the home page of settings. You have everything neatly organized in the categories such as system, devices, network and internet, personalization, privacy, ease of access, accounts, update and recovery. They have moved Windows Update into here. And of course, the features of Windows Update have been depreciated. You can't customize it near as much. But I think that there's one thing I think is pretty cool. Yeah, we're finding updates. But one of the things I find pretty cool is when Windows Update is ready to install updates or restart your computer, you can have it schedule. You can have it scheduled to restart your computer at a certain time. And the neat thing is it automatically gives you a suggestion time to restart, or you can specify that time on your own. You can set a day and a time to restart, which is very nice, I think. There's backup. Let's see, recovery. And if you, it looks similar to what you would see in the Windows 7 control panel or Windows 8 control panel, I do believe. And of course, there's advanced startup for all those people who have UEFI systems. If you want to access your BIOS, you gotta go in here. If you want to go to save mode, you gotta go in here. Anyways, that's that. Now, one thing I noticed that they got rid of on the Windows for, like, let's see, settings, or let's look at a different app. Let me just confirm that. Let's pull up some random app. Let's see, news. Okay. Okay, these commands are still there. That's good. Glad I didn't get rid of them. And one of the big complaints of Windows 8 and 8.1 was the fact you cannot run these modern UI apps in Windows. I mean, the OS is called Windows. I mean, yeah, it's called Windows. And why shouldn't they be able to run these in windowed apps like this? Which they fixed this in Windows 10. That's very, very good to see. And if you want to run app full screen, you got to maximize here. Or, yeah. Let's see. Okay, there's full screen. So it runs like it does, let's say, in Windows 8. Let's go to full screen. For those who use Windows Phone and those who use Windows 8 or Windows 10 now, it's nice to know that at least on the computer platform, use of those modern UI apps is a lot easier when you have a desktop. And of course you have the error shake, like it is in Windows 7. Now let's go and come back to this. I was going to mention something a minute ago. We have the new search down here. And here's Cortana. And it's like your personal assistant. I'm not going to start now. I'm sorry, but I'll need your permission before I can help. I want to close. But if you want to search for something, you can search down here. But here's one thing I don't like about the update. They took away Start Search. Now let's say if I want to look for a program. Again, let's look for Paint, which is already there, but let's look for Paint. See if it locates anything. Okay, it did work this time. Good. Okay. Okay. It's working like it's supposed to now. And guys, look what I've done here. We have the Windows Vista MovieMaker running Windows 10. That's one neat feature out of Windows Vista, that they did allow you to run in Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and now Windows 10. I still prefer this application big time versus the live MovieMaker. Just going to close that out. And let's take a look at some other things. Like, let's see, the task view. Let's add a desktop. There's your desktop there. Let's switch desktops. And so you can have, let's say, you can have games up in one desktop, and have your browser and other programs up in another desktop. You know, it's a neat feature that's been well overdue for Windows. Now, honestly, I'm not used to using it because I never really dealt with Linux a whole lot. But I'm glad to see they brought this feature into Windows. And again, as I probably mentioned earlier, they did make some changes to the taskbar. There they are. Rather than having running programs, like, let's see, File Explorer. Rather than have them like that, they have like a small bar under them. Which, to be honest, you know, I'm liking what they're doing here with Windows 10. And as I know, this video has kind of been all over the place, and I'm sure somebody is going to say, "Why didn't you use a screen recorder?" Let's not even go there. Anyways, let's take a look at a couple more things. Yeah, the Task Manager. Practically carry over from Windows 8. I've always liked Windows 8's Task Manager. So there it is. Really like Windows 8's Task Manager. And I guess we can conclude this video with a look at a bug in this OS. It's kind of an annoyance, and it's in regard to the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if any of the other guys who have tested this have had the same issue or not. But let's go and restart the computer. Yeah, we definitely got to show you how fast this starts up. And of course, this is the common boot screen if you don't have a UEFI system. Yeah, this Toshiba laptop is older than that. Yeah, this laptop is one I recently reflowed the motherboard in because it was dead. Startup is not too bad. Now, of course, this isn't exactly a clean install either. It's got some programs. Not a whole lot, though. And, of course, there's that beautiful picture. Really like that picture. I really do. Anyways, see if there's anything else I want to cover in this video. Yeah, we got some notifications. Yeah, update successful. Yeah, I restarted while I was doing an update, I guess. Let's look at the notifications. Now, for those of you who use smartphones, you'll know what notifications are. And I like the way that they have actually done it. They've actually integrated this into Windows. You got your notifications panel here, which you have a clear option and things like that. And of course, you have some options down here such as tablet mode, which is not functional because this is not a tablet. You have display options, connect, and all settings. You know, there's quite a few areas where you can get quick access to settings. Practically every app. Then let's take a look at the store. Yeah, practically every single app. Well, not every single one, but most of the regular apps where you have the app commands up in the corner, you have access to settings. And of course, they're coming out with a new variant of Windows Store. Yeah, there's a problem. It's not connected to Wi-Fi. tap that. Look here. We're going to settings. Available networks. And yes, I had this checked last time. Every time I restart this computer, it forgets to connect to my wireless. I think that's a bug in Windows in this build. Not as it's certain, but I think it is actually a bug. But look at, anyways, again, as I was talking about before about how they have made some huge improvements in settings. Look at network and internet. You have Wi-Fi, airplane mode, which I still sometimes laugh at that. Cellular, if your computer or tablet has cellular access. VPN, direct access. Dial-up. Can't believe that's still there. Ethernet, proxy settings. You know, this is pretty neat. I'm really glad that they have worked on settings to make it more user-friendly and more, I'd say, yeah, usable. Let's take a look at personalization. Here's a lock screen, which you can change. You can do a slideshow, pictures. You can choose which apps are showing a quick stat, such as, let's say, alarm clock or mail, things like that. Now, this is not the same personalization as, like, let's say, if you right-click on your desktop and say personalize. They may include some more things into settings, such as this, but if you want to personalize your theme and things like that, you got to go here pretty much. But if you want to personalize your lock screen, go to settings. Which I've always liked the lock screen of Windows 8. I thought it was pretty neat. Let's go back. The system. And as you can see, they have really done a lot of improvements here. Even, look here. In system, you have display. You can configure a multi-display setting if you have multi-displays. See notifications and actions. You can turn off apps from notifications. It reminds me of my phone. See Cortana and speech. Speech by itself. Storage Sense, that's a new feature to Windows 10. That always takes a little while to come up. Yeah, it's going to, there we go. Storage Sense. Battery saver. Power options. Windowing. Such as features like AeroSnap and things like that. Maps. Come on. Let's skip that. Let's go to defaults. This is your default default programs. Which here's something I'm not really liking. Well, I mean, let's take a look at photos. Why not? Well, you can just change. You can change apps here. But let's say if you're working with photos, I still think Photo Gallery or let's say Picasso would be a better program for working with photos versus the plain old modern UI Photos app. See, optional features. Let's have a look at that. Now, one thing I've always wondered about, and I'm sure some of you guys who watch my videos a lot will know exactly what I'm about to mention. Windows Media Center. Are they going to include it? Now, in older builds of Windows 10, such as 9879, you could add Windows Media Center in, but when you did, it changed the build to say Windows 8.1 with Media Center, and it would also say that your copy of Windows is not activated properly. Things like that. And I really hope they at least include Windows Media Center again. And, I still to this day disagree about how they are charging for Media Center when they have done little or no updates to it from Windows 7. I mean, seriously. Okay, I'm not going to get too much into that. That's a whole different subject. Here you can look at advanced settings of your computer, such as your PC name, product ID, the processor, and you can join a domain from here. Obviously, this is on Windows 10 Pro. Yeah, connect to cloud. And here's Windows activation information here, which they moved activation to PC settings in Windows 8 or 8.1. And here's tablet mode, which you don't want to have that enabled on a computer that doesn't have touch. If I'm mistaken, I think it will probably auto-enable itself if your computer does have touch, but I don't know for sure because I don't have any computers with touch screens. So anyways, that's kind of more of a detailed walkthrough of settings. That's one of the things I've definitely improved on. And yes, this video has kind of been all over the place. Yes, it's definitely been all over the place. It's not, I'm not running off of a script. I'm just going as I go, I guess. This is the new store. And notice, we have up and down scrolling, not side to side. That is a huge improvement on computers with keyboards and mice. Not the side to side that was in the previous store, I do believe. Now some of the apps like News, as you saw, still scroll side to side. Anyways, that is that. So yes, this video has been all over the place. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask or leave a comment. And thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video of looking at Windows 10 preview. Hopefully now you guys are probably looking forward to seeing Windows 10. And I guess I can go ahead and mention before I wrap up this video, this will be a free update for Windows 7 and Windows 8 users and Windows 8.1 users for the first year that Windows 10 is out. So I think that's going to be very, very nice. Again, thanks for watching.